Welcome to the Serendipitous Rebel podcast. I'm Wendy.
And I'm Krystal. We're business coaches and retreat hosts for bold, purpose-driven women who are ready to build businesses that actually fit their lives.
This podcast is for the authentic, rebellious entrepreneur who's done playing by everyone else's rules. We know what works because we've lived it, coached it, and savored the journey.
Join us for real talk on business, life, and everything in between. Welcome back, everyone, to the Serendipitous Rebel podcast. My name is Krystal, and I am here today with my amazing business partner, Wendy.
Hello.
And today we are really excited to talk about the thing creeping under your bed. No, I'm kidding. It's not the thing creeping. It's not the boogeyman. It's the other B word. It's burnout, but it's burnout in disguise. How high functioning women really hide it behind, I'm fine. It's like you don't even realize it anymore, because I think one of the things that we were talking about today, we talked to a lot of our clients and our mastermind participants about how are you feeling today? It's kind of like taking the temperature of the room. This seems to be a really common theme.
Yes. But that's not you. Yeah. You want me to elaborate more than just yes.
I do.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I could do a solo podcast too. It's fine.
Geez. Yeah. High functioning burnout is one of those things that I don't think we notice we're suffering from or in the middle of until really something just it really sets us off. And I think the first thing we have to do is what the heck is what are we talking about? What is high functioning burnout?
Mhm.
And I, I think it's different for each of us, but an overarching definition would be that it's a slow, quiet kind of a burnout. And it hides behind the fact that you are achieving things, the
Mhm.
fact that you are successful, the
Mhm.
fact that you have your packed calendars and endless output and smiles on your face. But there's something and I love the word simmering for this.
Mhm.
It's just and simmering exhaustion underneath that for me means I want to curl up in bed at 8:30 at night, even though I'm not 100% tired. It's a different kind of a tired. It's an exhaustion tired.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, but it's always keeping in mind you're still delivering, you're still showing up, you're checking every box, but it's also that thing about being overwhelmed yet on autopilot. Wow, there's so much to dig into with this.
Yeah. It's not because I think when people think burnout, they think, okay, I've just completely collapsed.
Shutdowns.
I've,
Yeah.
I've hit a wall.
Yeah.
I'm breaking down, and people are like, well, I'm not burnt out because I'm still going. Okay.
Yeah.
And one word that has come up is erosion. So it's not
Yes.
that's not the hit the brick wall, but it's just that slowly peeling down on you over time thing.
Yes.
And I think because if you are a high achieving, high functioning woman,
Mm-hmm.
a firstborn daughter, okay,
Yeah.
daughter, okay, I think that, and I think that most of us end up in that entrepreneurial path too, because that's like one of the beautiful things about so many entrepreneurs and online business owners is that you do have this ambition that just makes you want to achieve and go,
Mhm.
right? And it
Yes.
serves you really well in so many areas of your life
Yep.
until it doesn't.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And we are so wired to say, oh, I'm just fine. Oh, I'm
Mhm.
just fine. And I think about it, especially now that we're in hurricane season and you mentioned erosion. It's it's that it's the slowly, I think the ocean slowly creeping up on the sand until there's a hurricane. And then the next thing you know, holy cannoli, what happened here? And
Yeah.
everything is gone. And you just then have no idea how to respond to it. And which makes me immediately think of, well, if you follow like the SAVOUR method, you're allowing yourself, and I'm getting ahead of myself here, but you're allowing yourself to have mechanisms in place to combat this. But as I said, I'm totally ahead of myself. But I really think it's so important to start off with, yeah, there's this myth of, oh, I'm fine. Oh, I'm fine.
Well, because there's two reasons for that, right? One,
Mm-hmm.
you had said it earlier. So many of us, when we're in the thick of it, we don't realize we're in the thick of it because you are really
Correct.
just executing, correct?
Yes. Yes.
And then the other side of it is that it is very vulnerable to let your guard down and say, I'm not fine.
Right.
I'm
Exactly.
really just treading water.
Yeah.
And because when you look around you, everybody else looks like they're fine. And so
Yeah.
there's part of us, or at least there's a part of me often that feels like, okay, everybody else seems to be able to do this. Why can't I? Like, what is
Yes.
with me that, I'm not the only working mom. I'm not the only one running a business. I'm not the only one having to chauffeur my kids to practice and to school and all of that. So what is it about me that can't get my shit together, basically,
Well,
for lack of a better word? And I think there's two sides of that, is that one, it's not just you, okay?
right.
And two, I think that we often in our society, and I don't think it's just
Mm-hmm.
women, I think it's all of us, we
Mm-hmm.
equate exhaustion with excellence. Like it becomes like this badge of honor to talk about how
Mm-hmm.
tired we are and
Yeah.
how busy we are. And it's interesting because once you see that, you and I talk so much about the opposite side of that it's so ingrained in our business. But when other women tell me, oh, I work 60 hours a week, I was so busy with client work, there's a part of me that wants to grab them by their shoulders and go, you okay,
I know.
hon?
What's up? Yeah. 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 And having worked through, I came into the workforce in the very late 80s, but early 90s, and worked, as a Gen Xer. The wiring was all about busy, 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 and billable hours. And I remember having to write down how many hours did you work. And I remember I was salaried and I only got paid for 37 and a half.
Mhm.
Yet it's like, why am I as a junior person logging in 50 plus hours?
Mhm.
Because that was some sort of a crazy badge of honor. And I think the beauty of being an entrepreneur is that, on the one hand, we don't have to work like that unless we want to.
Mhm.
And even if you're building an empire, there's still there's ways around having to do that. And I can truly say, but the flip side of that is also, there's still burnout even if you're not working crazy hours, because there's
Right.
that whole alignment piece. Are you really doing what you want to do?
Yeah, I think we talk a lot about with our clients that burnout isn't failure, it's feedback.
Yes.
And sometimes when we're feeling that burnout, it's a really great opportunity to identify where is that coming from. So before we go there, though, I really want to ask this question. What
Mm-hmm.
are the signs of burnout? Because I think it is hard for women to identify in the moment. And I'm just going to tell this story really quick because
Mm-hmm.
you knew me when I was my most burned out, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was physically sick, like throwing up every day, high anxiety, but we were executing
Mm-hmm.
all of our client work. we were growing, we were scaling, we were making money, we were doing all the things. And I think you identified it before I even did. But I don't want anybody to get to the point where I did, where you're just throwing
Right,
you're
right,
sick all the
right.
time. So what are the signs of burnout? Because again, we all just kind of go
Yeah, yeah.
sometimes.
And for me, it had been, I needed a little blue pill.
Yeah.
That was, and it's interesting because there's a lot of different signs of high functioning burnout. There's like a mental and an emotional one where you feel numb even, but when you really should feel excited.
Yeah.
It's, you have, there's this, and I think of it as being almost like a fog, a
Uh-huh.
numbness, when you've just had, like, I don't know, landed a huge client or completed an incredible task. And instead of feeling that excitement, there's just numbness. And I think that it's, you snap easily or feel irritable by things that never used to bother you. And that is, for me, such that I know. And I know that's when I need to step back, because I'm not generally a snappy person, but I notice,
I'm
um,
holding up a tab right now.
yeah.
I was watching the video version of this because I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm really tired and numb and I'm really snappy. All right,
Yeah.
what's the next
Well,
one?
and there's a constant feeling of being overwhelmed, even when you're trying to make a small decision. There goes number figure three. Okay, you secretly fantasize about quitting everything and disappearing for a month. Four. How many times do we've talked about, my dream is to just hop on a cruise ship that does like some weird transatlantic journey.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
And then you can't remember the last time you felt joy. Now that's not, yeah. So you're 4 for 5.
I'm
Wow.
4 for 5. I mean, I
Well,
felt a lot of joy, but it's because we bought a new Bronco over the weekend. We had a lot of fun. So,
so yeah.
but like maybe don't go buy a brand new car every time
Right.
you're
But
feeling.
right. And again, these are like important things to be able to, this is where you need to then build in mechanisms and build in tools. We always talk about, or at least I talk about this maybe a lot more with my kids, but you need a toolbox where you pull tools to help you. And we do talk about the fact that as CEOs, we're really human beings first, and really working on what are the tools that help you as a human being, which therefore segue into helping every aspect. So also there are what they call behavioral signs, which are, you're constantly busy, but nothing feels meaningful. So it's
Mhm.
kind of like busy, busy, busy work, busy, busy, busy work. I
Yeah.
also tend to think that's when you're spending all of your time doing the busy work rather than focusing on the meaningful, there's something behind that.
Yeah.
Especially as a CEO, when really your job is, depending on where you are in your journey. If you're beginning, you're kind of doing both, but if you're in that messy middle, the segue has to be more to the meaningful. And that could probably be another podcast unto itself. You're hyper productive, but only because you're afraid of falling behind.
Ooh.
Yes. Oh gosh, that just brings back flashbacks.
Well, I
Um,
think what's interesting about that is I watch a lot of business owners.
yeah.
And I think if you're like one of those generating personalities, or
Yeah.
for your human design people, you generators, but we call them all kinds, your type A personalities, your whatever. It's like, I watch people, like, I sometimes think you just make up work to do, to procrastinate on like
I do. My
the
arm is
other
raised.
things.
I do.
Yeah.
Hello.
I see that all the time. And then I'm like, well, you are like, it becomes a self-inflicting problem in that cycle,
Yes.
because it's like
Yes.
you you didn't have to do this work. This work's actually probably not moving the needle as much as we want it to,
Right,
but
right.
you are getting like lost in the sauce of this thing
Mm-hmm.
and you're exhausted because it takes up so much mental energy to be
Yeah,
at.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
It's and what's so interesting is I don't know that we know how to identify this as the overarching high functioning burnout, because I know people who talk about feeling behind, feeling overwhelmed, who have said, "Oh, but this is not I this isn't burnout." Well, and the signs could they go on and on.
I know.
And so I think this is an overarching umbrella. I mean, one of the big things is you downplay your exhaustion because everyone's tired. And I know that especially in a world that we live in, we do downplay and don't want to, and as you mentioned, we don't want to, we live in our own silos and we don't want to,
We're posturing.
yeah.
So I'm going to take it. We're posturing. We
Yes.
posture because everybody has the Instagram feed that looks like
Yeah.
our families all wear matching colors. Oh my gosh, my family would kill me if I made them take that photo. But there's like that curated feed, and I think it also depends on where you live sometimes, because I think
Yeah.
the affluent area
Yeah.
that you live in, it's a weirder bubble.
Uh-huh.
But there is always that disconnect between reality and what's going on behind the scenes, and we just
Yeah.
don't know.
Yep.
And all of us are scared to say, I don't have it all together either. I sometimes feel like I don't want to go to work. I get really tired and I'm mad at my kids and I want to run away from all of this. Ooh, maybe that got too real. But you know what I mean? Like I think
Well,
it's it's like, you know, I'm a bad mom if I feel like I want to just cut out and go. Or if I tell you, and I think we have gotten over this really well because of our relationship and our trust with one another.
yes.
But there was a long time where I wouldn't tell you, I really just want to burn this business down
Mm-hmm.
because I didn't want you to feel like I wanted to quit on you or I was out, because that wasn't it at all. And it wasn't about you. It's just about me and how overwhelmed I feel in my life. And now I think we're really good about coming to you and saying,
Yes. Yeah.
today is
Though,
the day I want to burn it all down,
yeah.
and
Well,
we can talk through it.
well, I think it's interesting because yes, there were days where we would leave each other messages, and I was especially like, well, I don't feel like I'm being productive, or I don't feel, so I'd be like, oh my gosh, what do I need to create? Which is
Mhm.
funny because I left you a message this morning because last night I felt, oh my gosh, what do I need to create? So I need to create this workshop.
She always needs to create a workshop, you guys.
Always need to create something. But I think there's a couple things here is that as entrepreneurs and as women, a lot of us do live in silos. Or
Mhm.
if we don't live in silos, we live in these performative environments where, do I look cute enough to go to Pilates? Or have I done, or have I done what I need to do to look good in my community? Those sort of like performative environments where we don't necessarily lean into our square squads. Um,
Mhm.
and I noticed that that so much of what we value and talk about, fortunately, our tools fit in our toolbox and are able to be used in a lot of different ways, which just popped into my head. But we live in a world where there's so much gaslighting. Well, you know, you're tired, so what? you have
Or
you have this in your life, or it's always this, can you top this? And if you're not necessarily at the top, but there's this feeling that you should just be great. And this was a huge thing for me, and I didn't even finish my sentence there, but this was a huge thing for me during the pandemic. I felt like shit. I
yeah,
felt like shit. But I was hearing was, you just need to be grateful that you're not sick, or you need to be grateful that you're working, or you need to be grateful that your husband is working and your children are okay. And there was this horrible feeling of,
It could
why
always be
can't I
worse.
just feel like shit?
Yeah, that's toxic positivity at its absolute worst.
Well,
And
exactly.
and it really does. It gaslights all of us when we are feeling that overwhelmed
Yes.
burnout piece of it, because, it is, I used to get told that all day. It could always be worse. And I'm like, yeah, but it could also be better, Karen. I just, um,
Well, and I think that these are really important things to realize and then how to adapt to them. And, I think about this, and every now and then this still, especially not necessarily for work, but like the kids went off to school or the kids are starting school again. And you're like, I just need to get through this week. I just need to get through this week. But then that becomes a habit of, every week feels the same. Okay,
yeah,
the kids are gone, things. So, okay, now I just need to get through this week and I'll feel better or whatever it is. And then there's this feeling that you can't rest without feeling guilty.
yeah,
And the problem with that is how psychologically you're not actually getting the rest you need because you're feeling guilty about it.
yeah. And it's why, like, I think that it's why those traditional solutions don't work, right? It's because, like,
Yes.
I think that people will say, you should just take a day off. Okay. My husband, I love him if he's listening. He listens every once in a while. I love you. I want to throat punch him every time he tells me, you just need a better morning routine. He's the king of his morning routine. He thinks it's the end all be all of everything.
Okay.
And, and I'm like, great. I'm so glad that works for you.
Yeah.
If somebody else tells me about a morning routine, because I'm not a
Yeah.
morning person either, I need like a
Yeah.
half a pot of coffee to be a functioning human being in the morning. I really will punch him. That's not going to fix high functioning burnout.
No.
Sleep.
No.
Everybody's, well, if you're tired, you should just go to bed early. Okay, but it's not that I need more sleep. It's that I need a complete physical and mental reset.
Yes. 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 Yeah. And to go along with that, the physical signs that come up, you
Mhm,
wake up tired no matter how much sleep you get.
mhm.
And and they say, oh, well, just hook up to the sleep monitors and you can figure all this stuff out. Yeah, that's not really how that works. You end up locking your jaw. You end up feeling tension in your neck, your shoulders, or your gut. Okay. And it
Mhm.
gets to the point where you don't even notice that this is happening. I know that, especially for me and my shoulders, you can't even poke at my shoulders. They're wound so tight.
Same. I hate
And it's
massages
just this,
because it
yeah.
hurts.
And your body is run down. It's, oh, I've got a cold again, or yeah, I have these perpetual headaches, brain fog, or these random mysterious aches that no one can figure out what it's from.
Yeah.
Um, and the worst thing is you end up with inconsistent sleep. You can crash hard. You either crash hard and then you wake up, or you can't turn your brain off, and then you're just so exhausted you fall it's and I hate to say that sleep is so important, but sleep is really important. And
Yeah.
then with that, there's also the food side, in that with high functioning burnout, you crave sugar, you
Mhm.
crave caffeine,
Yeah,
or
your body goes into that survival mode.
yes,
Mhm.
or a lot of people crave wine. And these
Which,
are
by
the
the way, we're not
things.
knocking any of those things because,
No.
I love myself a glass of wine and I can't live without coffee in my veins. But also, when you need anything in your life to be able to
Yeah.
survive.
Well, exactly. Exactly. And whatever it is that you need, um, and some people, it's they solve this with and then it's like, what am I trying to say? That it's the overdoing. Well, I just need to exercise. And it's like, and again, it's that overproduction. Or I just need more sleep. So it's the overproduction. Yeah. And
Yeah.
um
There's a quote in a book, I think it's Anxious People by Frederick Bachman, which is an awesome novel.
mhm,
Anybody's not read that, but it's and it's just a fiction fun novel. It's not a self-help anything about anxiety, but it's like we often mistake, and I'm misquoting it, but the gist of it is that we often think that the solution to anxiety or high functioning burnout, I think they go hand in hand, is that to just do more.
mhm,
Like if we add more into your,
yes.
we add more exercise, or we add more of this and more to play. And the actual real solution is to do less.
Mhm.
So what would you say about the alignment piece of all of this?
Well, I think that part of this is going back and doing a frequent, and I think before you can reset, I like to think of it as a rewind.
Okay.
Um, and I have found that, and this is the perfect time, actually, this is the absolute perfect time of year to do this with. I always think of like school starting up again, really almost as the beginning of the year. And now is the time to sit down and think about. I sat down and thought about, what hats do I wear right now?
Mm-hmm.
So, what does that mean? That means that while I'm still a wife and a mom, it looks a little differently because I'm back to being an empty nester. I'm back to being a cheerleader for the kids, but from afar. I'm no longer a chauffeur. So, it's those types of things that you need to look at and say, what hats am I wearing right now? And what that really means is, what are my priorities as a me? In terms of, and the hats for me incorporate both professional and personal, and really also both in terms of, me specifically, as opposed to just being, not just being, but being a wife and a mom and a partner and things like that. And it also is a chance to look at, we talk a lot about, you need to look at your calendar. And if you know that you're taking, I don't know, a vacation, or that you have a deadline that's down the pike, or the holidays are incredibly important for you, let's not burn that bridge
Mm-hmm.
by scheduling things in a way that just are not compatible to who you are and what you want. And yes, I think acknowledging upfront that we are people of privilege, meaning we have the opportunity to be flexible in our schedules, to be flexible in our lives. And not everyone has that. If you do have that, but to acknowledge that,
Mm-hmm.
and that takes away some of the guilt. And there's also some shame in all of this. So a healthy dose of Brene Brown is always a good thing. Um,
Yeah, love
and
myself some Mama
yeah,
Brene.
yeah. And I think that we tend to do, you and I, and we schedule in-person meetups, which we will be doing shortly, where we'll go back and look at our VIA strengths. I know it's like cheerleading pop bombs. Um, we will relook at our VIA strengths. While they don't change as much as they used to, sometimes there are changes, and it's good to look at and see, okay, for me in my core, what does my body, what do I crave as a person? And for me, it's always usually back and forth between like love of learning and humor.
Well, and I think the most important thing about all of that, right,
Hmm.
is understanding what are your strengths and values and goals in
Yes.
this season of life.
Yes, right
Have
now.
they changed? Because
Yes.
I do think there gets to be an ebb and flow. My values and my goals out of life from 20 to 40 changed drastically. They will
Yes.
continue to change. There continues to be a different focus. And to your point, that gives you the permission to let go of some other things and reevaluate, and also ask if this is realistic. And
Yes.
is the direction that you're going, is that your direction, or is that a direction a coach told you to go for, or a
Right.
group program told you to go for, or you feel like every other mom at the PTO wants this, so I should want this too.
Hmm.
Or, you know, I think a lot of us compare ourselves as business owners to other businesses, and we're like, we want what that person has.
Right. Right.
Cool. Um, do you have the bandwidth to do what that person did? Or do you even understand how long that
Sure.
person has been doing it? And it's
Right.
setting those realistic things. But I think
Yeah.
at the end of the day, if you're feeling that high functioning burnout, you are going to quit before you ever even get started, because it will keep, when we talk about blocks, okay, like energetic blocks or mental
Hmm.
things that can keep us from getting to that next step, or that next, if you're trying to scale your business, if you're trying to get where you need to go, if you don't take the time to figure this out from a nervous system level, or
Yes.
I don't care if nervous system is the hot topic and what everybody's talking about right now. I think all of us are getting fed the same chat GPT prompt right now. But I think that, we've talked about it as from a well-being or a mental fortitude, or we've talked about it from that perspective. It's all the same thing. If you're not taking care of your mental health,
Yes.
you're not going to make it.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's very interesting right now because, as a slight digression, this whole thing about your nervous system really is so hot right now.
Yeah.
And I don't think most of us really understand what exactly is a nervous system. I mean, we understand we have a heart, we have lungs, we have a brain, we have a spine, but I don't think we understand that our nervous system is actually how our body communicates. It's
Mhm.
our built-in communication network, and it controls everything. So your nervous system is what makes your heart beat and what makes you breathe. And when your nervous system is out of whack,
Mhm.
that does impact your health.
Yeah.
It means that is my heart palpitating so fast? Or
Mhm.
why can't I catch my breath? And things of that nature. And so it also goes back to what we talk about, that we're human beings, and
Mhm.
our health has to come first. Whether you want to, the overused analogy of, you have to put your seatbelt on first, or your air mask
Your
on
oxygen on,
first.
mask on first. Yeah.
Exactly. There is all of that, but it's really exactly the way it is, because if we're not able to say, am I safe? Am
Mhm.
I connected? And do I need to either protect myself, or can I relax? These are the things that, this is basic lizard brain here.
It
This
really
is
is.
basic.
It's
This is
Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
this is the bare bones. We are still even before Neanderthals. This
Yeah.
is the basic way, and it's how our sympathetic nervous system functions. Do
Yeah.
we fight or do we flight? And these are automatic responses. Your heart is racing, your breath is shortening, your muscles get all tense. Um,
Yeah.
and this is what happens in emergencies. But here's the problem. When our systems were set up, they were meant for us to be, oh my God, there's a pterodactyl. Rah, rah. I wanted to make that noise. I did that just so I could make that noise.
I
Wanted,
knew that. It's
I know.
fine.
um, but it wasn't that 24/7 thing. This was
Yeah.
just a very quick. there's a pterodactyl. I need to run like hell or I'm going to get eaten or whatever.
Whatever. Yeah. I think I
Yeah.
sent you a meme recently that was like, when my sympathetic nervous system can tell the difference between an email and a tiger, I will be unstoppable.
Yes, yes, exactly. Yes. And we get all spun up and it's on a 24/7 basis.
Yeah.
And at no point were our bodies meant to be in that automatic nervous system place. We were meant to be in the parasympathetic, which is we rest, we feel safe, we feel grounded, we're able to breathe slowly and deeply, we're able to digest our food properly without having knots in our stomach. And when we rest, our body can repair itself. And these are where the important this is a really important place to be. And we don't want to be there all the time. And unfortunately, when we get stuck in this, that's where we feel overwhelmed, we feel burned out, we can't sleep or focus. And there's that whole disconnection where I want to feel joy, I want to feel purpose, I want my body to feel good, and I'm just not there. And it's, the interesting thing I also think is we're also wired to feel, oh, we're just broken or I'm just weak. This has nothing to do with that. This
No.
is the wake up call, the feedback that says it's time to do a reset. It's really time for a reset.
Yeah. And I think so and here's the thing, guys, the online business, the entrepreneurial space is really not built for that because there's so many things out there. We are bombarded 100 times a day with just go, 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 move, 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 just get
Mhm.
something out there. You're just one funnel away. You need to do this, you need to do that. And it becomes this rat race and you start to feel behind. And what and so it's really why we created our mastermind retreat the way that we did, because it's recognizing that you get to a point in online business, in business, not just online business, though that tends to be who we mostly work with, where you do need the strategy and you do need the plans and you do need the tie back to your purpose and the alignment and all of that stuff, but you can't get to there unless you
Mhm.
a minute to pause, unless you're
Mhm.
taking a minute to reset, unless you're taking a moment to recalibrate. It's both and I think that's
Yes.
such a hard place to sit because I think people think it's an either or. I either need to completely check out and shut down, or I need to be
Mhm.
going 1,000 miles an hour. And we're like, no, actually, you need both. You need a nap and to swing on a hammock somewhere
Mhm.
and have strategy and energetic conversations around topics that are coming from a place of inspiration and not pressure.
Yes. 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 And it is so incredibly important. And actually, maybe now is a good time to talk about a couple ways that you can do a reset
Yeah.
to, because it's recognizing these moments where you feel, um, when you're shallow breathing, when you're racing, your thoughts are racing, when you're having these muscle tension moments, the insomnia, the clenching, all of those things, you probably recognize that, or I want to burn my business down. Those
Yeah.
moments, you probably recognize those moments before you would say, well, I have high functioning burnout. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the leap that most people, it's hard to get to that. But you do know when you're just feeling out of whack, when you have like unresolved trauma that you can't put your finger on, or you're looking around and you're like, ooh, is that a lion chasing me?
Yeah. That's true.
um, and there are a few things that you can do that, and if you do them consistently, will really really help. I know for me, and I think you have a counter to this as well, that I row, And when I row, there is this methodic, rhythmic repetition that for me is, I don't meditate, but that's how I meditate. And I remember, like, you do Pilates. I'm sure it's a very similar when you're moving in and out on a reformer. There's also breathing. It's like if you feel tense, stop. And there's box breathing. You inhale to a 4 count, you hold for a 4 count, you exhale to a 4 count, and then you hold and you hold for, so it's 4, 4, 4, 4. And you keep doing that for, a minute, 2 minutes, if you can tolerate 5 minutes of standing still. There's also a great one where, to ground yourself, you engage all of your senses. 5 things I can see, 4 things I can touch, 3 things I can smell, 2 things I can taste. And then 1 thing is, what can I hear? And you can do in different orders, and immediately what that does is it slows your brain down. It brings you into the moment. A lot of us don't spend a lot of time either physically or mentally in the moment.
No, I agree.
Though I think actually, if you do a podcast, you're in the moment. So I would suggest a podcast as well. Also, there's things like walking barefoot in grass. When's the last time I do that?
Basic grounding. I do that
Yes.
every day. Yeah.
Yes. It feels, singing, chanting. I'm not a chanter. I'm a singer. I will admit that. And there's nothing, actually, what did I say yesterday? That I was going to take the phone into the shower with me and blare music.
Yes, you were.
I did that. And, look at boundaries, learn to say no, and really stick with that is very important.
Yeah. So, like, a lot of the things, so if you've been around this podcast for a while, if you're new, welcome. But we talk about SAVOUR a lot, which SAVOUR is just an acronym. Really quick: step out of your comfort zone, align your business with your passion and purpose, venture under your own power, open to support and community, unwind with self-care, and ritualize gratitude and celebration.
Yes.
And I think if you can, in regular intervals, incorporate elements of savor, it allows you to savor your business and live in the moment, to your point. But it's integral times of understanding, when are we stepping out of your comfort zone without frying your nervous system?
Yes.
Are you aligned with who you're with? Is your business aligned with who you are now, not who you were 3 years ago, maybe when you started this? Are you venturing under your own power, not following someone else's blueprint? Are you moving your body regularly? Do you have a community that you're connected with and not doing this alone? Are you unwinding with self-care and giving yourself that space to integrate and reflect in your time, in your moment? To your point, the regular intervals of box breathing, the regular time to meditate, whether you meditate through movement or on your own, right? And then ritualizing the gratitude and celebration, so you don't skip over your wins, because those are the things that are going to give you the momentum to keep going. And if you're not taking that time for that savor pause in regular intervals in your business, we are big fans of retreats and taking time away out of our silos to do it. We host mastermind retreats because we think it's so valuable, important. You and I do our own. You and I coming up here in September. I'm also a big fan of taking time away for yourself. I'm talking about vacation, because when you're a mom on vacation, you're not actually on vacation. You're just coordinating another set of chaos. But, are you taking time to do the things that you need to do, to your point, bring everything down?
Yeah. Yeah. It's so incredibly important. And actually, what I love about SAVOUR, and I think maybe we'll include a little 1-page like cheat sheet with this on how you can use SAVOUR for like a nervous system reset, rather than going over fine points right now. But is that if you embrace the concept of a full body reset, and it doesn't have to, and it doesn't have to be this huge thing. Cause I mean, you say a full body reset, to be perfectly honest, that actually, not you in specifically, but just in general, that scares me because I'm like, what the heck does that mean? Oh my gosh, how much time? Oh no. But actually, it's the little things that you can create the habits on a daily basis, whether it's breathing, whether it's setting boundaries, whether it's making sure that you connect with someone. I'm very, very lucky. You and I talk most days. And that is really huge.
Yeah.
And we all need people that we talk to, that we trust, that we feel safe. And actually, I think it's really that we feel safe with.
Mm-hmm.
And that is so incredibly important in how we can function. So, anyway, this has been fun.
Yeah.
I'm like, woo, this is fun. We could probably go on for
We
hours.
could go on and on and on, but we won't.
Maybe we'll spare you that.
So if this hit for you guys today, then it might be time for a reset. And just because you're functioning does not mean that you are fulfilled. Okay. So this is just a reminder. It doesn't necessarily mean that you need a full pivot or a rebrand or a strategy, but think about how you can give an actual reset for your body, for your life, for what you need. And if you are needing that to do with somebody, if you don't have the community, then we always invite you to do it inside our SAVOUR Mastermind retreat. But until next week, guys, we will see you later. Enjoy the rest of your week.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to subscribe and leave us a rating.
But only if you liked it. Otherwise, just keep it to yourself.
You can learn more about our upcoming masterminding opportunities on our website at serendipitousrebel.com.
And if you have topics you'd like to hear about, be sure to submit them on our website or DM us on social media.
Hey, see you next week. Bye.
Bye.